Give us a walkthrough of what AIT is, and then we'll go from there.
So awareness integration, the same as the name. The first, it goes into 6 phases of interventions. And the 6 phases of intervention, the first 3 phases are pretty much teaching us how to reflect and become aware. Like, you create two cameras, one going inside and really monitoring our thought process, our emotional process, our body. Because, if you listen, it really talks to us. And your emotions are being expressed through your body. Our thought process are a little bit, abstract, but everything else is in our body. So one camera kind of explores the thought process, all of the categorization, perceptual concepts, ideas, belief systems, things that we have. We generalize it. They're positive, negative, workable, not workable. So you kind of look at that, and then the internal space that instinctually tells you what's good for you and what's not. Like, as you start listening to your emotions are like they're like a messenger that says, knock knock, this is good, let's go, or knock knock, no, any way you can get away. So that's one camera. The other camera that we want to install so we can be really aware is, how do I behave based on this thought process and emotion? How do I behave, and what does my behavior create out there? Right? So if I am aware of this process and my relationship in between all the roles that I play, if my role is a student or a teacher or a worker or a boss or a wife or a husband or a father or a mother, I play as I wake up in the morning. I'm constantly playing in one of these roles, and all of these roles have some parameters that I come into, and I might have different belief systems and different way of behaving on one realm of my life, which would be different on the others, right? Like, if we work on a professional level as an adult, when we go to work, we learn how to talk professionally, how to act professionally, how to manage our emotions, how to all of that. And then sometimes we go home to our parents or spouses or children, and this is in the domain of family. In the domain of family, we might give ourselves the right to do whatever, talk, swear, yell, scream, do whatever, which we won't do on the other side. It doesn't mean we don't have the skills. It's just that we haven't transferred the skills from one area to another. So part of this awareness becomes, what kind of belief systems and behavioral structures I've created in different domains, which is working, what is not working, and really looking at, and I might have a skill that works in another domain, and if it's not working in here, I can grab that and bring it here. Like, if I'm doing amazing in structuring finances in my company, but when it comes to my home life, it's all, jumbled, then okay, let me bring that skill that I've learned in this domain and in here, or communication. If I can, the other way around is, if I can forgive my family and friends with a lot of the stuff they have done, I've learned how to love them and do that. Can I bring this also, for example, to the company, where to me these are strangers, and then I'm going to hold a grudge. If you compete with me, I'm going to do such and such. Well, my siblings have competed with me all day, so I've learned how to love them and learn to work in this system. Can I bring that skill now to corporations? So as you become aware of how you operate and what works and what doesn't, then you can bring these skills into everywhere. Now, in this process, I can also start looking at, what are some of the belief systems that led to some behaviors or patterns or reactions that are not working, but they were based on some reactions from trauma, right? Like, if I'm an immigrant, I would have trauma. If I've been abused as a child, neglected, whatever, huge traumas or even little traumas, my system has gotten frozen in that. And then, although I've learned so much more in my life, part of my system is frozen in that closet and is consistently reacting. So then, as part of the integration process of it, we go back and look at what it is and kind of integrate those parts of us which have split off in all of these kind of, undesirable or traumatic spaces, and bring them back. And so you create this inner healing, and that's why the self-esteem raises, right?
Sure.
And anxiety and depression goes down. Yes. So, for example, when I looked at my patterns of finances, instead of constantly damning myself about I can't even handle a business. I fail at every business because I can do it, move forward with it. And then I don't know how to like grow it. And so I made this a lot about my incapabilities. And then I started looking at, no, my father's way of doing this was he would bring two, businesses, and he will keep them for 2 years and then sell them. I never knew, there was never a conversation of how do you go launch a business and then maintain it and grow it. I only knew how to launch it, because that's what I had heard from him. That's what I had seen from him, right? So that's what I automatically did. It didn't mean that there was something wrong with me. It just meant that was my first role model. The minute I realized that, I took off all of those, stuff that I said to myself, negative things that I said to myself. So now where can I go? Realizing this, the awareness of this thing freed me to start going to seminars, to read books, to bring people into my as consultants who had done amazing jobs and teaching me, and I learned from them. So then it was okay. Then my next company, went 17 years. That's a lot, going from 2 years to 17 years, right? And then it was like I was keeping it, although it was no longer necessary, or it was past its time, and I needed to complete it to move on to bigger things. And then it was like, no, I don't want to. I finally learned this. I don't want to. But then now that was holding me back. No, you need to let this go so you could grow. So it's the awareness. But a lot of times when we hit something, our goals won't go forward, or our goals are going forward, but we hit a wall. We tend to say it's either my fault, or I'm bad, or somebody's bad. Mm-hmm. And so by this concept of awareness, you take that route out. It's not about anybody being bad. It's everything is fine. You're good. Everyone is beautiful. It's just, you just don't have the skills. And the skills you've had brought you so far. That's all. Now you need new skills to do something else. So the integration, it would be such as, for example, someone would be in a process of learning these things, and then suddenly they realize that the belief that they created, that I'm bad, I'm no good, I'm worthless, has a source. There was a time that I said this to myself because an event happened. So now you can imagine all of these kind of decisions you made through your childhood and teenagehood, which made up supposedly the core of your personality. You're going back and you're actually doing like a personality reconstruction, because you're taking all of those belief systems that created the personality you are, and you're shaking them, you're bringing them, and you're bringing it back to a wholeness. This time, not only from your vulnerability, but also accessing all of your strength, your resilience, your strategies you made in order to survive. All of those are part of your strength. So you bring the strength into the vulnerability and you uphold it together. So that's where the integration process happens. And we do it in all domains of life, whatever is necessary, up to 31 domain of life. And then after that, you say, who do I intend to be? And then you commit yourself to your best. Not that your vulnerabilities or your worst side doesn't show up, but because you're aware now, it doesn't come into the behavior. It shows up as feeling and thought. So you put it kind of like this filter between thought and emotion, and then the behavior. And in this filter, you're putting your intentional, who you say you want, you intend to be, with your value system, commitments, and everything. And then your behavior becomes a lot more intentional. Not that we don't screw up, or a lot of times this, but when you do and you're aware, your camera's on, the minute you see you screw up, you clean it up. You come back and I'm like, I apologize. I did this, and I clean it up and move back right into consciousness. Yes. So one of the things that this model does, it takes away the unnecessary chatter that happens in all of our heads and wastes our time and energy a lot. Because then after you do all of this, you create goals for yourself in different areas of your life, and you commit to your goals. And every time you commit to your goals, you're like this. And every time you don't do what you said you do, you're like, what worked, what didn't? How come I didn't do this? What kind of belief systems or things showed up? All right, get back up and, do you still want to do this? Is this still a goal? Yes. All right, let's go on. If you say, no, I've done it for a couple of weeks, this is really not my goal. Great, change it. And then you create structures around you, ask people, bring accountability buddies, have your people who are around you be a part of your goal to cheer you on, move you forward. And so then you create a structure where you actually are every day, you're kind of conscious about what am I going toward, how am I doing it, and you also enjoy your accomplishments and strengths and things that you've actually accumulated, because everything that you do raises your self-confidence and self-esteem again. It's like, yes, I've done this, and I've done this not because my ego is getting up, but I've done this, that means I'm capable. And then from there I can also give. Like for parents, then they can offer this to their children. Right. For friends, they can offer it to friends. For teachers, they could give it to their student. And that's why, I become responsible responsible and accountable to live my best, whatever my best is. It doesn't have to compare with your best, but whatever I say my best is. One of the things that you could see why it brings down the depression and anxiety, a lot of depression and anxiety is this chatter thing that happens. The things we do to ourselves internally. So this model really kind of completes that chatter. It's like it brings it into a structure, completes it. So you're working here with reality. You're co-creating with others and life the reality that is out here, not the thing that you create